Good morning, beautiful sunshines. Caley Carroll here, and today we're going to talk about anxiety, maybe some coping mechanisms. Does everyone get it? And do you just want other people to suffer to make yourself feel better, or do you just want to know that they're human? There's a lot of different subjects. So let's dive in. As we say good morning, sunshine, I'd love for you guys to interact and comment. So say good morning, sunshine, in the comment feed there. Tell me what's going on in your world today. How are you feeling? And always start off with gratitude. This is going to be part of our conversation today, but what are you thankful for in this moment right now? What's making a difference in your life? And don't just think of the big things, you guys. Of course, think of them, but also think of the little things that make such a difference, like the mug in your hand that allows you to drink a hot liquid. Because how else would you drink a hot liquid if you didn't have a mug that provided the resource to do that? You couldn't put it in your hand and have your hot tea. It just doesn't make sense. It would burn you. And why does it not burn our insides, but it would burn our outsides? Because I like to drink really hot stuff. That's a very good question, Cal. We'll answer that in a later one. Okay, so I have a lot to talk about today, and there's an assortment of subjects here, but I want to start off by asking this. There are people in your worlds who perhaps you look up to, right? Maybe you have some sort of mentors, you have different social media people that you follow, you have people that you're like, man, they're always crushing life, right? They're so happy, they're running it after it, they're so successful, and it lifts you up to watch them, to be inspired by them. And high five for finding those people in your world, you guys, because that is so important for a way to lift ourselves up. But I want to ask you a question. Do you ever find yourself kind of wishing they would fall on their face? Do you ever find yourself kind of like, are they even really human? Do they ever really have like challenging life happen to them? Like, why is everything so perfect for them? And it's not necessarily jealousy, as maybe it is. Maybe it's curiosity, and maybe it's a little bit of frustration and aggravation about what's going on in your world, but you find yourself wishing or wanting or curious to see them fail, right? Okay, so let's start off with that piece of the conversation. I cannot tell you guys how many times somebody's reached out to me and been like, you know what? I'm so glad that your life is super shitty right now after a serious share. And then I know, okay, that sounds bad and a little bit like facetious, but like you're like, I'm so glad, like I'm so glad that you're dealing with like really hard things too. I'm so happy that things aren't going well for you right now. And some people are like, they're not eloquent, but most people say this in a much more eloquent way, right? Like, thank you for sharing that. And I have to tell you, the first time that I heard this, the first time that like somebody approached me and was just like, thank goodness. Like, that's how it was. Thank goodness your life sucks right now. I'm like, what? Thank goodness it sucks right now because I know that you're human, right? And at that point in my life where I was mentally developed, I was hurt by it. I was just like, what? Like, are you serious? Like, I'm sitting here in the pit of despair and you're like, oh, high five, good for you. You're sitting in a bowl of shit right now. I'm like, that's jacked up. Why would you ever want that for me? That was then, you guys. That's where my mindset was then. Now, over the last 6 years, what I've realized is that people like to relate with authenticity. And the fact of the matter is that this is point number 2 of this video, every human has shit that they go through. Every single person. I don't care who they are. I don't care how much you idolize them. I don't care how they portray themselves on social media, on their station. They're always happy. They're always humorous. They're always blah, blah, blah. That is not their real life 100% of the time. Now, I hope and I pray that it is that way 98% of the time, right? That they're doing everything that they can to bring in positive energy, positive light, see the good, protect themselves from any negativity. But I know that life occurs for every single human. So whoever you're idolizing right now, keep following them, keep being, keep being feeling inspired by them, but know they have their shit too, right? Never wish shit on them. They already have enough shit. But in this light, what I want you guys to see is, right, like, so everybody has that. And what I realized with time is that when I was getting those comments back, it wasn't because people were wishing foul upon me, anxiety upon me, worry upon me. Not at all, right? They were inspired on a regular basis by me. They felt at home knowing that I too went through stuff. It made them feel like, oh my gosh, okay, so you are human. You do have shit on your plate. Stuff does happen to you. And it wasn't coming from a hateful or angry part of their heart. It was coming from a, oh my gosh, I can breathe, right? I'm not doing everything wrong. I'm not bringing all this to me, right? Like it made them feel better. And that's okay, you guys. In fact, that's a great thing to find people who are authentic with you, right? To find people who can share both the highs and the lows. Now, I don't want to dive into lows and like live down there because that is not fun, but I want to share some stuff today. And I want to share some mental stuff that I've had going on, because again, I want you guys to understand, I don't live in a perfect world, in a perfect bubble with everything going on perfectly. That's not the way that it is. And I know sometimes with my upbeat, crazy attitude in my videos, people are like, oh yeah, she never is down, right? So I was sharing with my I Am Journey women some different things that have occurred for me over the last week. And I just wanted to share with you guys to show where I'm at, and also the tools that I'm using to work my way through. And these are all important parts of the video, right? Realizing how to edify people, how to look up to people, and also like support them in their down times, right? All the different pieces, but also how do you handle it when the anxiety settles in, right? So first of all, for me, like I don't really feel like I experience anxiety very much anymore. And I know a lot of people do on a daily basis, and my goodness, do I feel for you, right? Some of you are like, I don't even know what that feels like. So anxiety is like where you feel like your heart's racing a little bit, your stomach is kind of in knots, your head is spinning, it's wandering back and forth, it's questioning things, and you just don't feel yourself. Right? And anxiety is a negative emotion. It's got a negative vibration. And I'm not saying that means that we want to try to reject it. We want to accept it and let it go through us. Part of the next part of the chat here, but like it is of a negative vibration, right? It can lead to different things such as depression, and it can support us in making not great decisions in our life sometimes. So lately, right? When I was a kid, you guys, I had anxiety, I don't know, for 15 years, 18 years. And then like, not just like mild anxiety, like severe anxiety around nighttime and fear and lack of safety and so much stuff. If I get into that, I'm just gonna start bawling right now, so let's not do that. But through I mean 20s, I guess, through my marriage with John, he's really brought safety into my life. He's helped bring peace. And then through studying and mindset, I've figured out how to step out of that mental space and into one of more calm, peace, happiness, joy, right? So it's been a journey for me, but shit still happens. Right? You see this higher level happiness on, most of the time, but shit still happens in my world. So, not that we need to go into all the details, but as of like last week, I started to feel all this anxiety bubbling up from things like, and you guys might think, okay, what boils it in me, right? What brings it up in me? So for me, I'm operating multiple businesses. It's a very busy time of the year. We're supporting, 100 plus new women on their confidence journey, working towards their selves, their mind, their body, their health. I feel an obligation towards not only my coaches, but my clients, to make sure that they're moving in a good direction and that I'm supporting them in every way that I can. And that takes a lot of energy, right? Running businesses takes a lot of energy. Yeah, I'm a stay-at-home mom because I'm the primary caretaker for my babies. And yes, I get some support, a couple days a week from my family members, or my son walks over and plays with my mom, but it's not like I am the sole person. Like I can't just get up and leave anywhere. So there's these like responsibilities that are everywhere, like business one or two, business three, 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids, almost a kid that's graduating. I've got my one that's about to get his license. I've got a 3-year-old that is spazzy crazy right now. I've got a 1-year-old that's watching a spazzy crazy brother, learning all of the tips and tricks. Like, it's a mad household. So that's my normal world. And that one I can handle, I can figure that out. But then you start throwing wrenches in it, right? Like bomb number 1 is dropped on you. We're like, okay, and not a big deal, but like we have everything figured out to go to one university, like we're all figured out. And then my daughter's like, I don't think that I want to go there. And there's some beautiful things about that. Now we're going to be staying in state, and I love it. I'm so excited about the decision, but also a lot of stress. Halt business. halt momhood, which you can't really halt, right? And you need to pivot and like plot twist, right? We're going to be researching every other Colorado school. I'm setting up, tours at every school, trying to figure out the difference because our tuition is higher in Colorado than is in other places. So now there's different financial things that are landing, not to mention like just finances in general. Finances ever stress you guys out, right? Like we just got this incredible vacation. We're putting all of our money in retirement, but all of a sudden, like, where's the money at? And then your income, fluctuates or decreases and expenses are higher and like stuff is just crazy. Finances are crazy. Your world's crazy. We're trying to figure out college life is crazy. Then we figure out Quincy has 5 cavities, which I know like for some of you guys, you have way worse life going on in this. I understand, but guess what? Life that stresses you out is life that stresses you out, whatever it is, right? It could be that you couldn't find the perfect dress for the wedding. Like that could be a very big stressor, and that is very valid, and you own and receive that, okay? It doesn't have to be some sort of extreme pieces. So for me, it is extreme that my son has to go have 5 cavities. He's 3 years old, you guys. We're going 11 today. He doesn't know how to lay in a chair, like to open his mouth for longer than 10 seconds. So to try to get him to figure out how to like sedate him and not chop the dentist's fingers off and have this thing in his mouth where he's going to be sitting there and being worked on to feel 5 different cavities, who are like, they're molars. You can't do anything else about that. And they're about to like hit the root. Like this has to be done, is a very freaking stressful situation. So since last week, I have been a ball of nerves, of anxiety, worried about my companies, worried about my clients, worried about my coaches, doing everything that I can, trying to be the #1 mom, trying to tour campuses, trying to make sure that my son's feeling comfort in his teeth, and then preparing mentally for what's going to happen today. Or do we go here? Or do we go there? Or do we go to the hospital, you guys, and pay $20,000 to get these teeth filled? Like that's what it's going to take. Like it's mind-boggling all of the different things that can happen, right? So anxiety sets in. Anxiety, and for me, you guys, what it does is I start to have everything that's within me that's been stored from the past start to bubble up, which I want to tell you is a good thing. So now let's start learning how to cope with these different things, okay? It's a good thing. So as things are arising, there's probably things that are stored from my past that I don't even remember. There's things that I pushed down that are not fulfilling me, and they're in fact inhibiting my growth. And when I face a challenge like this right now, and all the different anxiety and things that are boiling up, do you guys ever feel like a kettle that's just about to scream? This is where I get, right? Where all of a sudden, like everything just comes out. I'm not receiving the support like that I need. I don't have any time for myself. When's the last time I've had a lack of responsibility that I could just like actually sit and be for 24 hours? Like all of these different things come to surface, right? And I have the opportunity to let go. And I've been using over the last 5 days so many of our I Am Journey coping strategies, so many of the tools in our tool belt. And I have to tell you guys, I don't know what I would do if I didn't have that program and those tools. Like I sit here, and you guys know that I do gratitude on a regular basis. I do gratitude when I'm crying. I do gratitude when I'm happy. I do gratitude when I'm just walking down the street. It's something that I've been practicing for so long. It's a part of who I am because I know it can change me physically in a second. Not to say that it doesn't go right back. Gratitude, anxiety, gratitude, anxiety, gratitude, anxiety. That's what happens, right? But the more that you practice, the more that you can move forward. So with that, I give gratitude so much for the day in December, like what it was, 29th, 2019, right before 2020, where like basically we had this idea for I Am Journey just delivered to us. Every single one of the lessons over the next year were presented to us. And I don't know how, you guys, it was just like, oh, here's what you need to talk about next. And through that, I have different tools that I've been using to cope and manage what I have going on. Now, does it make it perfect? Hell no. Absolutely not, you guys. But do I feel like I am moving through it instead of moving backwards? Usually. Right? Sometimes I've definitely, even just over the last like week, I feel like I'm moving backwards. I feel like I'm like drowning. I'm like, oh my God, I don't even know how to come up, right? But what I do is I reach out and I grab another one of my tools to support me in moving forward. Maybe that's grabbing onto gratitude and doing a serious, like just like gratitude dump of everything. And here's me, right? I mean, I'm like, why are you being such a freaking baby? Like all it is like some school move-ins. It's three, it's a few companies. It's staying with the kids. You are so lucky. You are so blessed that you have these companies, that you work for yourself, that you get to be with your kids, that you have a senior in high school, that you have a 3-year-old, that you have a dentist, that you can somehow figure out how to pay for a dentist, but that's going to be a little bit tricky. Like all of these different things. Right? Like, and so I talk to myself like this, but it doesn't instantly make me feel better, right? I'm like, that's true. And I walk myself through it. And I'm like, I do this. And I'm like, you can do it, Cal, you can do it. You can smile. And I take myself out on a walk and I get some fresh air. I'm like, you can do it. And then all of a sudden, you guys, what do? I burst out into tears. Like tears, massive crying in the last week, right? And the thing is that through my lessons and through our I Am Journey system, the different tools that I have learned is that one of those pieces is you don't stop that. You don't stop the tears. You don't stop the emotions, because it's giving you an opportunity to release not only what you have going on right now, but what you have had in the past, right? So for me, it's like when the tears start, I'm just gonna bawl. Like my husband knows he's gonna come up to me and he's just gonna hug me until I stop, right? One of my dearest friends was over here and she's like, she can tell, she can feel it, right? Us empaths, we know what's going on in our world. We can feel the energy. And she says, are you okay? And I just let it go. Right? And she comes over and she gives me a hug, you guys, and she's like, I'm not letting go for a long time. Like, you got to get ready for it. Like, it's going to get weird. I'm like, it's not going to get weird. So hugs, like person to person contact, right? Like just hugging onto her. And it was so cool. Like this moment, you guys, I have to tell you, like I felt my whole body release after about 40 seconds of this hug and just tears coming out and just like this deep breath where all of a sudden it was like, okay, there was a release. And then I got this massive headache for 24 hours because it was some of the different toxins I'd been putting in my body through stress that were coming out. Right? There are so many tools to help us cope with these different things that occur in our life. And the lesson that I really want to share with you guys today, outside of judgment of others and perception of authenticity that we talked about at the beginning, is that you have the availability. There are tools to support you to move through the challenging times in life. And yes, the challenging times in life are going to show up in all sorts of different packages. It could be in mom packages, it could be in relationship packages, it could be in financial packages, it could be in the world and your view on it packages, safety packages, I mean, all these different things. It's like, there they are, and they don't make you feel lit up. They're making you feel on the inside. And this happens. And we can't avoid it. You can't run from it, and you can't make it so that it never happens to you. Life, I hate that I say life is going to happen to you, because life is so beautiful, right? But challenges are going to happen in your world. It's going to happen. So with that being said, are you practicing? Are you discovering? Are you working on coping mechanisms and tools to help move you through? Right? Do you study some different things that can support you in that? And this is going to be 100% like I want you to understand. I want you to know that I Am Journey, our program that we have, is where we go through, and the first 4 months, you guys, we go through 10 basic lessons. And it's so important that most of our women decide to do those 10 lessons again so that they can start to really see how to use those tools as best as they can naturally with ease. You know, when something comes in, how do you pull from this lesson and use it in your life? And for me, if I didn't have those over this last week, I would have even been more of a shit show than I was before. But instead, you guys, I have learned how to cry it out, to have human connection, how to have movement and fresh air and gratitude and journaling and mental distraction in a positive way, and to light up my world and identify what I have going on. And it's been so supportive. Not perfect, supportive. What are you doing in your world to cope and manage with these times of anxiety? They're gonna come. So good morning, sunshines, right? Heavier subject again today, but I hope that this supports you in just acknowledging that if you're not doing something for your mental health on a regular basis, if you're not putting yourself first, when shit hits the fan, you might not have the greatest resources for coping. What can you start doing now? What can you start reading? What can you start watching? What program can you enroll in? What conference can you go to so that you have the resources and tools to help move yourself through that as best as possible? And finally, you guys, the person that you thought was the golden child and everything's perfect for them, it is not. They're going through something too. So maybe give them a hug, right? You think that they got everything on. Maybe send them a positive message. Send them some light. Send them some love. They've got shit going on too. And I want to just send you guys some light and love, because I bet The majority of you that are watching this right now, you have some anxiety, you have some shit going on, you have some things that have hit your life. And I want to tell you that I'm praying for you. I practice Ho'oponopono on a regular basis. I'm sending light, love, forgiveness, gratitude directly in your direction right now and telling you that I love you, and I hope that your vibrations start to increase. Take a deep breath. The world is a good place. You're going to be okay. Your spirit is bright. I love you. Light and love from my house to yours, you guys. Good morning, sunshines.